4x4 Studios presents
in my oversized four-wheel drive Jeep.
a Jeep podcast starring industry experts.
Pure monosity. What? Say that again.
With mad scientist Scott Brown,
Use my drill press as a sort of lathe.
our host Neil Simpson,
If one light goes out, they all go out.
filled with shenanigans.
We are really professional with Jeeps.
This is I Speak Jeep.
Good. Jeffrey, the producer, DJ. What was that?
He's doing stuff.
Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever, however you are joining us. I know that you can't hear the goat to cue us up to go, but today there was like a fairy godmother and a goat to cue us up to go live.
The music might have been a sneak peek of what's to come towards the end of the episode.
Oh, good.
We also had to stop and restart the live. We were having a few technical difficulties.
We didn't like the way it was starting, and we just said, nope, we haven't even got into it yet. Let's just reset it.
Oh, Jeffrey pulled the plug. If you're joining us in your ear holes, we appreciate you prioritizing this podcast as part of your listening experience. Just know that you too can join us every Monday at 10:19 a.m. live on the Book of Faces and on the YouTubes. My name is Neil with SFJ4x4.com, and I'm joined in Grandma's Couch Studio.
By Jeff and the mad scientist Scott. Sorry, I was
What
reading
is Jeff
comments.
doing this morning?
I was reading comments
You know
because
what?
apparently I never silenced the goat again, and they can hear the goat still from the time that I turned it on so that they could all enjoy it with us.
They hear the goat every time.
Whoops.
I'm here for it.
Whatever. They
So-
know that they know it's coming. That's all.
Mad scientist is over there stirring his hot chocolate with a plastic spoon because I'm assuming his chocolate spoon melted already.
It may be at the bottom.
My chocolate spoon also melted.
I didn't even try it with this chocolate spoon yet.
So it is our last podcast before we depart for a week or so for Christmas celebrations or whatever winter holiday you choose to observe. And we are, as we have been in December, enjoying some delicious, unique hot cocos that Jeffrey acquired on a serendipitous experience.
The 9 Cocos of Grinchmas.
9 Cocos of Grinchmas. Scott blessed us with little chocolate stir spoons, but they were so small that my fingers helped stir the cocoa in the heat, and then it melted so quickly that I was like, you know what? I'm leaving the plastic spoon in. I'm leaving it in. And we will talk about our cocos and our cups and stuff at the end, should you choose to stay with us in that. I also brought, because I am a proponent of all things, I'm kind of almost
Man,
old school.
I haven't seen those since my great grandmother's house.
Exactly. I brought Grandma's candies for us.
You're not supposed to eat those. They just sit in a candy dish forever.
And Grandma yells at you when she hears the candy dish clink too much because it had a glass lid.
Do. Yeah,
Right? It had
without
a glass
question.
lid. I tried finding like a Christmas tree or a snowman where the head came off or the top hat came off, because that's what I remember. It was like the top of the tree or the top of the top hat came off. That's where these candies were.
Oh yeah.
The deluxe filled classic Christmas candy.
I'm gonna tell you, I found them one time in the cookie tin.
Grandma May's candy dish. You found them in the cookie tin. You know,
You mean a sewing kit?
Yes.
Okay.
I just, I think it's so funny because if you knew me, I'm like the biggest juxtaposition between like new age ideologues and like everything grandma and grandpa had, like all of that, but would you like some grandma's candy?
I will take a grandma's.
There's grandma's
candy.
cookies,
Let's see if I
grandma's
can
couch.
Pick one out that I'm gonna be picky. See if I remember this one. Yeah,
Oh my
this one.
God. They're
This one.
so,
White with
I
the
got
green
more than I can
stripe.
handle over here right now.
yeah, you're getting your butt kicked by that hot cocoa.
I am. This is why my wife makes my cocoa normally.
What? Does she cut your steak for you too?
Not quite that bad.
I was gonna
Uh-huh.
say you don't want to answer that.
No, I was going to say, we know the answer. We all do. We all do.
Cooking is a new task of mine, and I'm not very good at it.
All right. So in the comments here,
He's making cocoa. It's not cooking. All he has to do is stir up the powder.
I might have used too much
by
water.
looking at his cup, he is having trouble stirring the powder.
I think I got too much water.
You did. Scott's gonna be like, mine tasted terrible. Tasted like
I'm gonna
dishwater.
put 2 more spoons in it to try and get more chocolatey.
All right, in the comments, Daddy Jeep, morning. Joe O'Brien, good morning. Daddy Jeep again says, I see it snowing in the studio. The snow hasn't stopped here, so we just let it keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Chuck Lorre saying, it's going to be a bad day. And Roy saying, good morning.
Good morning to you all. Also, just for those who are listening in, we are adorned in some Christmas cheer or winter cheer of sorts in our clothes. Jeffrey has
The ugly
Yoda?
sweater. Yeah, baby
Yoda ugly sweater, baby Yoda sweater going on. I actually
May the
have.
force be with you.
Yep. I have the I have a YJ squares. I've got a Christmas adorned YJ on my hoodie. I thought Rob Morgan might appreciate that in some degree, and Scott rocking last year's "'Tis the Season" wheeling shirt. So
I think he just
all
left
is
it in
well.
the studio so he could have it for
100%
this
he did. I'm pretty certain that's what he wore last week as well.
Mhm.
It's gotta go with what I got.
week. I figured he already spilled some hot cocoa last week. It could just do it again this week and then go get it washed.
Yep. So we are obviously talking some Jeep inspired content. We're doing a little broader automotive stuff today, playing some games in kind of inspiration of a light and jovial season. We'll be doing the naughty nice list. Before we get into that, I really want to encourage you to make sure that you leave us a review out on the wherever you're streaming this from. Share it with a friend. If you're in a Jeep club, if you're in a social page, share the podcast. Let people know they can get engaged with all things that are part of the Jeep life. Additionally, you can head over to either of our YouTube channels, the I Speak Jeep podcast YouTube channel or the SFJ 4x4 one, and you can see other great content provided by us. Also, come hang out with us this Friday. We're going to be parading. The weather is supposed to be fair, crisp and cold. The mounds will have the snow mounds should have melted by then.
At least mostly.
And that's okay. We have 4x4s anyways. All Jeeps are welcome. And we're going to be gathering at our facility at 4:30. Hanging out for an hour and a half before we go line up to step off the parade in the evening, adorned with Christmas lights and candy and lots of good holiday cheer. So we hope that we will see you at the parade with us this coming Friday.
And good morning to Michael Lentz. And Joe says, I may be Joe, but I'm not jovial.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are you Jolly Joe though? Nope.
Okay, we were trying too hard.
Fine. Whatevs. So what do you got for us, Jeffrey?
So for our naughty nice list, what we're going to do is we're going to go through this list. We'll kind of pick and choose how we go through it. There's no particular order. But it's things from 2024. And we're going to assign whether it was naughty, whether it was nice, or maybe it had aspects of both, and we will talk about that.
Yeah, a little bit of a year in review of sorts, but also kind of, speaking automotively and naughty or nice. Who's on the naughty or nice list?
Good morning, Bill.
And each of ours perspective on naughty or nice. Jeffrey, I want to know why Scott is not drinking his dishwater hot cocoa over there.
It is very cold.
It's very cold.
It's
It's
very
cold?
It's cold.
Do we need Savage to go warm it up for you?
Would be amazing.
Maybe Savage is listening enough that he can come in and we can hand it off.
Save me, Savage.
Yeah, I don't think he is.
Anyways, he's not moving.
So, as far as 2024, as we come to a close, what was naughty and what was nice?
So let's start with, since we're talking about the Savage and we can see him through our sliding glass door, production studio. Naughty or nice?
Well, I just ate my candy, so I was not ready to transition back so quickly.
And Scott is very entrenched in
And
texting
Scott
Jamie.
is texting Jamie. We're off the rails already, folks. Wow. Oh my gosh.
Maybe yours is cold because you put too much water in. Because ours were cooked at the same time, and mine is very.
Oh, you sucked all the heat out of mine.
No, is that what it is? So, anyways,
So production studio is well, unfortunately I'm gonna have to go aspects of both.
Mhm.
And
I knew you would.
yeah. The at the ownership level, and as you were running numbers and some reports for us last week, the naughty piece is we missed roughly 6 episodes because of the production of the studio.
Yeah, and that impacted us.
And that impacted us. Our listenership, our loyal fan base, people who really are counting on those podcasts. They were awesome, and you stood by us. But the numbers as a whole, it becomes a numbers game, and so those six missed weeks really negatively impacted our ability to kind of perform where we expect our podcast
The
to.
Savage is gonna
Come on
come
down.
on in, step in. You could do
Oh,
it.
he's making Scott.
He is
Scott's
camera
getting-
shy. The Savage is standing at the sliding door with his hand in, letting in cold air into our warm studio to heat up Scott's hot chocolate.
Scott's dishwater hot chocolate.
All
right.
Phil
So-
McWilliams said, "Oh snap, the list is out." Joe, I'm going to address your comment in just a few minutes because, believe it or not, you made the list.
So, as far as the studio is concerned, that's challenging when it comes to a year-end review of performance-based numbers. That was kind of our biggest, quote-unquote, time off that we've taken in a few years.
Yeah, but when we look at the trends from how far we dipped during those 6 weeks to our trend upward,
Right.
we are trending upward really well.
Oh, you know what? Because of our listeners, we came back with a vengeance,
Right.
Which is fantastic because despite the fact that we actually had underperformed our volume of actual podcasts produced, our listenership is greater than ever.
Yeah.
And so that's
And
very
our
cool.
per episode download is higher, not significantly like we've seen in the past years, but we took a 6-week hiatus.
Right. You were
So-
talking about on an annual average.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we're still doing
And the
surprisingly
goal
good with that.
when it comes to being nice, the goal is that we have the ability to produce more content with more frequency and more specialized stories, more opportunities for interviews, things that have really benefited us in the past. But the juggling act with how our retail and our service has grown as well, our juggling act of being able to do both has become more challenging because of the space constraints and the noise and the background. Whereas now we can easily and quickly dip into the studio, turn on the equipment, get a 15-minute interview in, get a 20-minute thing, shoot some video content, whatever, and move on.
Yeah.
So looking forward into 2025, and maybe we'll talk about that a little bit when we come back after the holiday. The podcast studio, the studio in general, I think will substantially benefit not only us, but all of our listeners and followers as far as the content creation is concerned.
Absolutely.
Scott, what's your take on you're warm now in the podcast studio.
I'm on Pro Studio, even though it has taken a little bit of a sidebar from my other pet favorite project in the shop that we've been working on. For those that know will know.
It's a room up front. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
I know exactly
It
what
did.
it is.
It did sidetrack us.
But-
of sorts.
But
So
it is
showroom
really
is starting to
nice,
look really nice.
that we have a quiet space.
There it
uh,
is.
That
Scott's talking. You got to bring it in.
You have to come in now, Savage, because Scott's right in the middle of a statement. and he closed the door.
he's going to make me go for it.
Yeah, were you going to finish your thought process at all?
It's gone now because my hot
All
cocoa's
right.
there.
Yeah, the showroom and the front of the house is really coming together. That was a big priority going into this particular year, 2024, we achieved a number of goals in the process. The big piece was the heavy push on the studio. We basically went, start to finish on it. And I'm very proud of the fact that we were able to, and with our viewers' help, and get this beautiful signage behind me, the I Speak Jeep neon. And we were really kind of able to make that vision come alive. And we were just able to kind of knock it out and build it in a very short period of time. And it's attractive, it's insulated, it's sound, it's a sound impedance to everything else that's going on in the world, and it gives us the appropriate space to do what we need to do professionally for all of you, our listeners out there. The showroom, as we continue to increase our retail merchandise and drop in exposure, like we did pre-2019, we used to actually have quite a few people. Our walk-in rate was actually pretty high for our location and our location and and honestly our scope, right? The size of the business we are. But that was through 2019, and then obviously 2020 happens, and the whole world shifted to online purchasing. Retail experience, or the front end human in-person experience, became lesser. But we're looking to try and create that personal experience again and draw people back into the showroom. So another reason the showroom might be, the podcast studio might be a little bit on the naughty list, is the fact that it did detract from the front of the house infrastructure improvement plan.
Yeah, and specifically my favorite room in the shop.
Your bathroom.
Still not built.
Yeah.
Well, the room was built. That's just not functional.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a hole in the floor.
I keep threatening.
Oh boy. So I think that covers production studio.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna leave it on the nice list. I think the nice.
You think it's on the
overwhelmed.
nice? I mean, you guys would definitely put it on the nice list, and I'm on the nice list with it as well a little bit. So
All right.
it's a nice list.
While we're on production stuff, this year the Savage purchased this awesome cinematic camera. Very, very cool, very helpful to the production
It's
value.
amazing.
Is that a nice or is that a naughty? Did Savage's camera put him on the naughty list this year?
Savage's camera. So Savage went rogue, right?
He
Just
did.
so everybody knows. He was all about plowback. Now, this is the plight of SFJ 4x4 that ultimately the investment from the individuals within this who are so dedicated to building Jeeps and creating content for our community that everybody goes into a degree of debt or investment for that pursuit. As it is as if it is and everybody looks at content creation or you just go to you go to whatever shop and they wave their magic wand and you're like, oh, that didn't really, that's part of doing business. And it's like the challenge is all of the individuals within the confines of this business just have sacrificed immense amount. What, Jeffrey? You know what? Your point across the studio is very distracting. Everybody who's watching us on TV on the YouTubes can see you.
I realized that there was a pen over by Scott, and I have a list, and I was trying to cross stuff off, and I couldn't.
And the only thing I'm worse at than making hot cocoa is sign language.
Charades is not your
Holy
game.
crap! That was the worst game of charades I've ever seen in my whole entire
I
life.
thought I was doing a good job. I'm showing writing on a piece of paper that I'm literally
It was
holding.
incredibly
He
distracting.
Tries to hand me a chocolate spoon. Then he tries
I
to
would
hand
have
me a
taken the
remote.
chocolate spoon. You could have at least chocolate lined it through. At that point in time, you had motioned to him 6
I was going
times.
to take the chocolate spoon, but he just dunked it in his hot
It's gone. Eliminate it.
fourth chocolate spoon.
Anyways, a $10,000 camera, I think, puts him on the naughty list.
Oh, without questions. It is. There's nice aspects, but that definitely put him on the
I
It
night.
was an awesome camera, but I'm too much of a car guy, and I was like, man, that's a really nice car.
That is. He actually opted to continue to drive his Beat Trailblazer, which is not blazing any trails.
No.
No.
And instead go all in on an industry leading rig
a very
for
fancy.
content creation. And that's
Daddy Jeep said squirrel. That's my bad. I'll take it.
Yeah, right. But yeah, I mean, he's definitely on the naughty list. There was no consultation. He was just like, I'm doing a thing, and he just surprised all of us.
He was savage, like he is.
Yeah, that's no surprise. But it does potentially again push us forward successfully into 2025 with the tools to do the job.
And as we push into 2025, there's one thing that Joe Brillo already brought up that I am okay to just leave in 2024, and that is the electrical diag of 2024.
Yeah.
So Joe Brilla's Jeep made it on our naughty list specifically.
There was 3 tank green, 15 JKUs. All of them were JKUs.
They were all naughty.
They were all naughty.
Yes.
That was I think in 2024, tank green 15 JKs were naughty.
I'm going to even go farther and say just 2013 to 2017 JKs as a whole became more naughty than we've
than
ever
ever
seen.
before.
Yes.
But on a side note, Doug Gregg, who gifted us this beautiful wreath hanging in the showroom right now, which I talked about last week.
Studio. But
Studio. Yep. Well, it was in the front before. Well, it was in my wife's Jeep.
And then you confiscated it again.
I took it with force, and right now he's panicking because he has that Jeep as well.
He apologizes.
I do. But yeah, he's
is
panicking.
he panicking or is he threatening us? Because every time he brings it up, he's like, I know that you guys had these 3, but I got this and I like this and blah, blah. I think he's threatening us with it.
Yeah.
I don't want it. I don't want it. No, electrical diag of 2024. I mean, so far I haven't had too many nice list items, so I'll have to really I have to check whether my cup's half full or half empty today. But 2024 electrical diag is absolutely on my naughtiest naughty list. It absolutely drug me down. We spent so many hours not getting paid, but just combing over wire by wire by wire, changing out sensors, inspecting, scanning the sensitivity of these vehicles.
Consulting.
In the spirit of Christmas, Joe O'Brien wants to add red to the green. Well, I'm just going to point out, Joe, that yours is the only red JK that made the naughty list for red.
We had a couple nice list red JKs.
You know,
but where we had that white, it was red, white, and green. Which I mean, it's either the Brazilian or Italian flags or Christmas spirit.
Yeah.
But we had that white Dub J, which was absolutely a basket case of an electrical diag.
Yep.
And it was. I would like to think that there was something else that would define this past year. I mean, we had some really gnarly builds, some really cool stuff that would put some of that service stuff on the nice list. But realistically, we had an overwhelming number of either insurmountable or highly challenging diagnostics.
I'm just going to go out on the limb and say all green Jeeps for 2024 were challenging.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, because there is that one green Jeep that we have that is stuck in Canada mode because
Yes.
the head unit's broke.
Oh, I forgot about the one that's
Yeah.
stuck in Canada mode.
Yeah.
Yep. That's more of a neon green, but that's still a green.
It is
Yep.
green.
And the XJ Wagoneer
Yep.
is technically green.
Yep.
Yep.
All right, green Jeeps suck in 2024.
On the naughty list.
There's a green Jeep page. Weren't you in a green Jeep page?
I left that thing.
They're not as cool as Blue Jeep Crew, let's be honest.
Right.
But right now they're flaming me. They're right.
Yeah.
They just took a picture.
As
Most
their
wanted.
Jeep's broken in their driveway.
Yeah.
All right.
Naughty list.
I'm gonna give you something that I think you'll put on the nice list. We'll see.
All right.
Rockslide Engineering.
What? What, did you set me up for failure?
He did.
What did you do? Why would you do that to me?
Because it's Jeff.
Oh, you thought you were going to troll me on air? That's
is.
awesome. Naughty list. That's it. I'll just put it out there. Let's talk about our transgressions, folks. So
We installed so many rock slides in 2024,
We did.
and they performed so well.
we did.
I other things aside, I assumed that this would make your nice list because of.
He's focusing on the glass half empty scenario over here.
Apparently, I'm too fired up for today. And I need to drink some more cocoa. Apparently,
So like everything, there's good and bad. So the bad was that we got a really cool product before they were ready to release it, sort of.
yeah.
Which means that we had to embody Greg and Scott's how do things go together without instructions.
It was a giant erector set. It was,
And we did figure it out.
We
And
got
we-
a
without
bed
all the
rack-
right
We
hardware.
got a bed rack system, folks. I'll just put it out there. We got a bed rack system with some really cool flip up sides, and it was all teased. This, that, and the third is like the greatest things since sliced bread, and it is.
It was at SEMA 23, and we ordered it at the beginning of 24, and it wasn't.
It was
So they don't know how we got it.
Correct.
That's what it came down to.
correct. We called them back, and they were like, "Oh, there's no instructions for it yet." Like,
and in their defense, they did finally give us instructions after we assembled it.
Kinda.
Kinda.
So
Sorta.
we had it fully assembled and working appropriately long before they ever sent any resemblance of instructions, and they had to send us corrected hardware bags 3 to 4 different times before we had all the actual hardware we needed
And
to
this is a
assemble this
nutshell.
correctly.
Is challenges of first year products.
well, and I'm going
and
to take
vehicles.
a next step further and talk about their Gen 3 sliders, which
Awesome.
are awesome, but can present some challenges in the sense that when the 2024 model JL came out, the brackets for Rock Slide to actually affix from the body mounts to the slider itself were not correct.
Yeah.
And we were learning that the hard way on a new model JL. This was early on. So this is, 2024s were new, and were, Rockslide had fortunately also kind of slightly identified the issue as well.
Yeah, they were in the rumor stage.
And
We
they
confirmed a rumor.
and we confirmed it. You actually modified the brackets, if I remember correctly.
I don't know. That was too many Jeeps ago.
And at that time, they did end up. They had one in engineering, and they shipped us their prototype brackets, which worked swimmingly. So on the nice list of that extent. But they had some issues, some growth issues themselves. They let some employees go. They've switched, and that's not why they're on the naughty list, but they've switched largely to a heavy Bronco lineup at this point. I think that
puts them on the naughty
that'll
list.
equally put them on the naughty list. For me.
There was several things about it overall. They had some misshipments where they sent us completely incorrect parts. But
Well-
they were responsive and they resent the correct parts.
In their defense, I'm going to put shipping on the naughty list for 2024 in a hole.
Yeah, that's fair.
I saw the best meme today, and it was a COVID meme, but it was like, it says, I don't know who needs to hear this, but that package you're tracking, it's in God's hands now. So, just let it go. And that's just the truth about shipping in 2020.
Literally, what I did about 6 o'clock this morning, I was tracking my packages, going, "Well, I don't know what's going to happen now."
Nope. The Lord's got that one.
So, because you mentioned the 2024s and the challenges that are presented with that new model, 2024 JLs is on the list. Let's just talk about it. Let's just talk about the display screens that
I'm
take
checking
up the
my
whole
list
dash.
twice, and it's not looking good for you all. I'm just saying.
Hey, we can all get
You
our
know-
coal together and have a nice bonfire later or something. So it's
There's
fine.
a new movie out, and I know that your family watched it,
Red one.
Red One, and I feel like you're Dwayne Johnson in this role right now because there was more naughty than there's nice, and he lost his Christmas spirit
And he was
over
fed up over
it.
it.
He was fed up over it.
Ah, shoot.
That was a good movie, by the way. We watched it yesterday as well.
Awesome.
So, anyways, the display screens. Let's talk about the display.
I love the
screens.
display screens. I love them. I love the I love the trend right now where we basically have small flat screen TVs in vehicles. I'm not 100% sure how that coincides with the distracted driving that our
I was
first
gonna say
responders
I'm
are.
putting this on my naughty list.
I'm not sure how that juxtaposes with our first responders and their issue with distracted drivers.
I'm putting it on the naughty list for two reasons:
Mhm.
the distracted driving, but also our ability to work on those vehicles. the amount of labor it adds
Mhm.
to a customer's bill when we have to tear apart all that new technology and
It-
how many more wires and connections
you're not gonna
and failure points.
be a least bit surprised. I'm totally on my naughty list. I'm like reminiscing of simple Jeeps where you hit them with a hammer and they start working.
Oh,
That
Greg
is
did
not this.
Greg did an audio install last week, and the whole time we were doing it, we were reminiscent about the fact that we used to be able to just change out a head unit while a friend's driving down the road. Just switch it out.
That's fair.
You can't do that anymore.
No,
I did once install a head unit while waiting for my wife to come out of her college class, and it was completely functional by the time we went home. So
I was doing some diagnostics. I was doing diagnostics on my wife's JL, which is not a 2024, but a JL nonetheless. And her center stack, her head unit was not functioning. And I was like, cool, now it's died as well. Only for me to figure out that the security bypass module was unplugged from when I was doing the diagnostic. I must have just unplugged it and I needed to drive, pick up the kids or whatever. The head unit worked for, 38 seconds and then nothing.
Yep.
And it wasn't until like 2 days later that I discovered that I had left the security bypass module unplugged. Now, if you don't know what the security bypass module is, let me get on my soapbox about Naughty List. And Stellantis, which I know is on this list.
It is.
Which I know is on this list. And Stellantis is on my naughty list because of their data collection properties and the fact that we have to have security bypasses or, this system. And what that is every time your vehicle's check engine light is cleared, and that's cleared, not you use your little code reader that you picked up at AutoZone, but actually cleared, the data is stored and it is sent to
they get an email.
it goes into a database at the mothership, and so when I had it unplugged, the mothership was like, "You shall not have your stereo."
Yes.
And that drives me nuts. It drives me nuts.
In that note, my Jeep over the weekend decided one of the random times I backed up to give me a very pink, reddish, Christmassy screen
Oh, I don't like that screen.
for the backup, and then it just worked fine after that. So it was just angry for a minute. We had a conversation. I threatened it a little bit, and then it behaved itself.
So think of that 2024 model. I'm sorry, I don't know.
Right?
The Savage is telling you that you have to take the bottle cap out of your mouth.
I chewed it up. I chewed it up.
With that said,
I chewed it up. You know what's giving me
that's
joy
great.
right now? Grandma's hard candies.
I had the displeasure of driving a newer Honda Accord this morning for a loaner vehicle. And I will take my Jeep with its pink screen of death over that Honda Accord.
Why do
Every
these
day.
screens shut off randomly all the time?
I
Why?
get it. I do get it. But the Honda has a speed limit sign on the speedometer right next to the digital odometer. So to make you feel guilty if you go an ounce over the speed limit.
Can't be like, officer, I didn't see this the
No,
sign.
it's right there.
No way.
And I guess I'm officially old. I don't like crawling out of a car anymore. I was on the ground. I had to have like an exit strategy. I might have to call
Tuck and
in
roll.
somebody to help me out of the car.
Stop it.
We're,
All right,
we're
well,
not done with 24.
What
though.
happens when that 2024 model, big, beautiful, it's like a 12.5, 12.8 screen.
When your kid throws something from the back seat and it cracks the middle of the screen.
What happens when it glitches out and it just goes blank at that point?
Well, you
have
end up
a-
in Canada mode, so you have kilometers instead of
You have
miles.
a stern conversation with your Jeep and you say, look, we're going to have to fix this.
Get your crap together. I like to whisper sweet nothings at him. I'm really sweet.
Unplug
And
it,
it's not
plug it
cheap
back
to,
in.
Not cheap to replace. Head units have only gone up in price as the models get newer.
You remember when we used to buy a head unit for a full swap for like $50?
Yeah.
Now you got $2,000. You
I
want to
never
do a
did that,
JL?
but
$2,000.
anyway.
What's that?
I never did that, but anyway.
You didn't buy a head
I
unit
have.
for $50?
I was thinking about this though.
I
Back in the
usually
day,
was in the 100 to 150 range, but I absolutely have installed the $50.
back in the day.
What was a Sony Explode? I mean, I know you keep saying back in the day.
Now hold on.
All right.
Sony Explode was like $79. back
There
in
you
the day.
go. All right.
Yeah.
So the only qualifier I have with this is back in the day we all had a computer in our house that would act a fool at a random,
Yes.
and we all just went and unplugged the thing off the wall,
Yep.
looked at it sternly, and plugged it back in, and
Yep.
everything was fine. So why are we surprised when our vehicles are so electronic and computerized that they act a fool once in a
I
while?
see it on the Jeep. See it on the
Right?
Jeep social pages every day, and people go into full-on panic mode. And they're
Yes.
like, it glitched out on the highway. I'm like, it's got, I don't know, 18 miles of electrical in it.
But when we were in 6th grade trying to write our Word document and the Hewlett Packard did that, we were just like, piece of crap, unplug it.
Hard reset.
Yep. So in 2024, we also saw EV sales up 21%. Is that a nice or naughty list?
So from my camp, that's a naughty list. From Neil's is probably a nice list.
It's a nice list.
I'm gonna go with it's a naughty list, and the next one on the list is why.
Well, I'm gonna say nice, right? And then you can all knock me down. But I'm gonna go with nice list because it was under people's own volition to try EV technology, and I am here for the attempt to try new things. It's like when the 2.0 turbo came out, and people were like, how is a 4-cylinder turbo Jeep going to move this big, heavy monster along with tons and 40s and all the armor and everything? But until you try it, you don't know.
Yeah.
And so I like that people gave EVs a chance.
Well,
in
the nice thing
2024.
about them is the naughty ones just catch on fire and burn to the ground. So they
and
take
that's
care of
what
problems
that's our
themselves.
next one. 4xe, 4xe fires. Congratulations, Scott. Is that on the nice list or naughty list?
Well, in some ways, it's the Jeep committing, exiting strategy itself, so that we don't have to worry about working on it anymore. So, some ways that's nice. As long as you have good insurance, I guess it could be in the
There
nice
were
list.
so few of them that actually happened, right? This was a precautionary piece.
Yeah.
And I feel like it was mass hysteria on behalf of much of the owners themselves because all right, so I think there are definitely some motorheads who went out and bought EVs, but I don't think that is the bulk of 4xe owners. I think the bulk of 4xe owners saw it as an opportunity to get into a plug-in hybrid, and it was like an incentive to them to get into this rugged platform that seemed really cool. As a person who hangs out a lot in the EV community of sorts, I really see people who are there's not a good middle ground. They're either super gearheads and they want to see the electrical matrix and the marriage of combustion and electricity work, and so they're like a gearhead who gets that, or they are absolutely somebody who should be driving a Tesla but was attracted to the price point and the rugged individualism that the Wrangler platform presents.
So, you either know how it completely operates,
Right.
or you don't know how to put gas in it.
And it's absolutely magic, and it's very confusing, and it's very scary. And so when there is a little bit of a concern or a recall, people lose their mind. Can you imagine if the same people were owning the Explorers in the early 2000s and the tires were falling apart?
Oh, that was after Firestone. Everybody went after Firestone for that.
Why no?
I know,
But anyways-
for like 2 years, I swear while we were eating dinner, another Explorer fell over.
Oh, right? Right?
It's just the world was like, "Huh, that's what we do. Get up and shake it off.
Roll it back on its wheels and keep going.
Since we were talking about fires and Jeep, let's talk about Stellantis and the CEO just resigning December 1st.
The dumpster fire.
Carlos
that is
Tavares.
Stellantis. Yes.
Just up and resigned
I'm not sure if that's
a year early.
a good thing or a bad thing yet.
How many nice lists? I have not
is
put
terrible.
enough things on the nice list on this. All right, so
I'm going to go with that's on the nice list that he resigned because he tanked the company.
so if you're not familiar with Carlos Tavares, he was kind of billed as the golden child of the automotive industry. His previous employment, he had worked within major global European markets.
I'm just going to point out that I went down the rabbit hole looking into this. One of his longer stints as a CEO was Airbus. And I don't know if you remember when Airbus had all those
Shut
issues.
up.
He was the CEO.
Shut up. I had no idea.
Yep.
I mean, okay, so and I'm just going to go back from a bird's eye view because I
Yep.
didn't understand that.
Right.
And
I
I'll
didn't
just
realize
go
that
with
either.
How I, as a neutral individual, encountered him, right, as the CEO. And basically we were billed as individuals that the golden child of the automotive industry had taken the helm at Stellantis, and everything he had Midas's touch in the good way, that everything he touched turned to gold. But as King Midas's story goes, it actually is a curse.
Yeah.
And he just drove Stellantis into the ground. Now, literally and proverbially, apparently, because
what I also found out was that the board had already been in discussion of finding a replacement.
Yes.
A month before he resigned.
Correct.
Now
there was-
they have toted it that they were seeking his replacement for after his term, because he had another year left,
correct.
a year or two. I think it was another year, but I don't know. That seems awfully early and progressive to be looking for a replacement.
Well, and
So
what it was,
he was
and-
kind of forced out.
and
in
I
my
think
opinion.
that he was because I think that what we had was the open letter from the Dealer Association of North America, which had come out roughly a month to 6 weeks prior. That basically, me and Mike Tyson are hanging out. Basically, that the kind of the lobbying group representing the Chrysler and other dealerships of Stellantis proper had written an open letter, basically single-handedly pointing to much of the decision making that Tavares was responsible for, and putting this tanking, recessionary trending vehicle sales pretty squarely on his shoulders.
Like how you couldn't buy a 2024 Gladiator for 90% of 2024.
Correct. You had a lack of inventory. You had price increasing out of what the average Jeep owner is willing or prepared to purchase or buy their vehicle for. They had a weird dealer incentives. They had just crazy high prices.
That's on my naughty list for this year.
And that's ultimately why I think on my nice list is where we saw Jeep in this kind of response to this turmoil respond and say, okay, we're changing our manufacturing plans, our approach. We're lowering prices. We're going to see prices decrease by $7,000-$8,000, and that's very rare do we see that substantial of a decrease year after year of model. But the question is, has the damage already been done?
I'm once bitten, twice shy.
And much of the consumer market is, right? And so I was going to say the heavy focus on the EV market, which I can appreciate, but the Hemi Dodge is no more as far as the truck market is concerned.
Naughty list.
The V8 Jeep is limited production and a price point that almost nobody can afford.
Also
the
naughty
3.6
list.
automatic.
The 3.6 automatic, not allowing a manual option in there,
Naughty list.
and so there's a number of global decision making that kind of trickle down, or at least that's the story we're hearing now.
Well, on the flip side, on the upper thing is, since the CEO thing didn't work out for a couple times, maybe he'd go try to be like a singer, because he's definitely got a 2000s pop singer name.
He does,
He
doesn't
really
he?
does.
So
Carlos Tavares,
maybe
yeah.
we'll see
I
him
could totally
on
see that.
America's Got Talent or something.
Ricky Martin and Carlos Tavares.
Yay!
Yay!
All right. So the next one on the list is, and this is somebody that we actually had on air a year or two ago now, but Alison Parliament passed away in 2024.
Yeah, that is, and of course, if you are one of her, kind of dedicated people, we obviously continue to extend our condolences to you, and kind of a sombering moment as we see 2024 come to a close. That was a tough one, obviously not making light of it, but naughty list in the sense that the Jeep community as a whole experienced largely a pretty substantial kind of gut punch, if you will, and so kind of a weird event that kind of impacted many people who knew her or who appreciated the movement that she helped popularize so much. So I've seen a lot of people, kind of become very dedicated to that, and they had the Allison Duck, and while I am also still in that social group, they seem to have appropriately picked up her torch and seem to be carrying it strongly into 2025.
Okay, so we got to find a nice thing now, because we've just like the naughty list is so full. We're
Jeff, do you have
Hey, it's very
anything
quiet
that's
now.
nice
I'm
there?
very worried.
Scott's Metal Shop.
Yay! Scott's Metal Shop. Oh, that's good.
and it didn't get smushed, so that's
And you drove your 36 this year.
that's true.
There we go.
That
Dude,
is a
that is
positive.
very nice.
Yeah, it's a positive.
That is very nice.
Two big
And
positives right there.
Those are super huge. And honestly, your metal shop has not just benefited your car, but it has benefited you as an individual. You've met a lot of people. You've learned a lot of skills. You've been able to extend relationships you had with people as you kind of hone this craft. And it's directly positively influenced and impacted our business and our customers. I mean, the work you were doing to James Highland's exhaust. I mean, we've been making custom exhaust here for years at this point.
Yep.
But the skill set that you exhibited doing that exhaust was remarkable,
Yeah, I'm trying to put sheet metal into everything now. So we did.
And it looks really cool.
So we did stainless sheet metal, dimple dyed, and everything on it to make it a little more tough
Yes.
and strong. But just for a spoiler alert, sheet metal will not clear snow off your roof in Snowmageddon. Just putting that out there.
We'll get to some again. That is on the
Wow.
list, but we're not going to go there
I
yet.
tried
wow.
twice.
So, you had good prototypes. We'll talk about it. XK Command. Let's talk about XK Command. They had a solid state ground system, switch system, and they had ground versus positive actuated.
Yeah.
So it initially came out, it was ground activated, and that put it on the naughty list.
Right.
Why does that put it on the naughty list? What's that even mean?
See, I actually like when grounds turn on and off stuff, so I don't know quite why, other than people aren't used to it.
So specifically, we have a product called Nacho Lights, which we're going to talk about as well, that is a shared ground system. So it has 3 different light functionalities on a shared ground.
I see.
Now, if you have a ground activated switch system,
Yep.
it's either on or off.
That's a challenge.
And just as a general technicality, much what you said, that there is a lot of people at an engineering level who do actually prefer ground activated,
Yes.
right? And I think that the average DIYer, certainly in the world that I kind of came from, you think of energizing the system versus adding ground, right? Or allowing the circuit to complete in that manner. And so I think that the standard DIYer is thinking like, hey, I'm going to give power to this light, to this sub, to this whatever. And so we don't think of ground activation. Now, shared grounds or ground activation has become almost a manufacturing norm
Yes.
amongst the professional community. Now, I think that's what's challenging is when you make a product that is an aftermarket support product, is directly out there to benefit functionality of other devices and the consumer, then you have to kind of know your audience. It's like being a speaker and knowing your audience. And
That engineer got tunnel vision and was like, hey, all the computers are ground activated, so we're going to do that too. But that's not what your audience wants.
correct.
And XK did an amazing job of rectifying that expeditiously. And
Phenomenally so.
then they swapped out the units for us, and we had a couple units that were impacted by this. One of them's in my Jeep.
Yep.
And they switched it to be positive activated, and then it worked well with Nacho Lights and a few of the other opportunities that we use it for.
Just so we're all on the same page, this is a nice lister, right? This was debuted in SEMA 2023. Much as we tend to do, we try to consume some of these hot products early on, use them. That way we can speak on a degree of authority to you all who are listening. Additionally, our customers who are coming to us are kind of getting the best possible product that meets their needs versus just the old hat that, oh, well, we've been using that for 10 years, so that's
Yeah.
what we keep using. That's not to say that every product's going to be perfect, like you said, the XK Command. But then we work with them, or we work with Rockslide, and
Yes.
we help refine that product in the process. And that's one of the things I'm very proud of as a business, is that we have the ability to communicate, to both break down the components and communicate with those manufacturers to make sure that the product does address your needs as we had intended it to.
And I really enjoy the XK Command switch.
And it's exactly as that, as the Switch is, it's a great product. And they were very responsive to going, hey, we see you and we want to do better. So let's, switch that around. It's a solid state switch. You can have like 32 functions out of it, basically.
It's almost unlimited.
Almost unlimited.
You just keep adding switches.
Correct. You can just keep adding, and because it's solid state, you can basically, there's not the relay, or you can kind of assign it different amperages.
Yep. You can even set it to different flash settings.
Right.
So if you're a snowplow, for instance, and you're using the command switch, you can use it with a solid light and create that flash effect
that
with a solid light.
strobing effect.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very cool product, and we're fortunate that XK came out with it. Definitely a nice list, and them as the responsivity of them as a manufacturer, nice list.
Yes. And then since we keep talking about nacho lights, let's talk about ARB nacho lights.
Yeah, so mixed review for me in the sense that love the product
Absolutely.
itself, nice list
All day long.
nice,
Very, very high
list.
quality, very nice
Customer support,
stuff.
nice list.
Yes.
Relevancy in the Great Lakes, Midwest, Quaker State Commonwealth.
Biggest naughty list of the day.
Cannot figure it out.
It will not sell up here for some reason, and it should. It's priced really well. You've got high quality. You've got multiple different options within it, and you could do 10 watt, 30 watt, 60 watt on the
You can use them
Quattros.
as stock fog lights, as far as JL, JK, whatever.
So maybe this is just show everything has a flip side. So we were talking about the shipping being on the naughty list. Maybe it's slightly on the good list because you can't go on Amazon and buy your junk lights that won't last 2 years.
Right.
Maybe you can then come into SJ 4x4 and get some nacho lights because you don't have to deal with the shipping.
that we have in stock.
Yeah. And you know what? And they've been fantastic.
You can get them for Christmas.
They've been fantastic as a manufacturer, because they, realistically, we had a customer who, we have a number of customers who go coast to coast with enough regularity, but we had a customer who ran down to New Mexico, Arizona a couple of years ago, came back with these lights and was like, man, these things are the greatest things since sliced bread. They're at a random shop.
Yeah.
Ended up at this random shop, bought these extra lights, so on and so forth. We end up, again, SEMA 2023, Jeff and Greg are hanging out in the new product release.
So to clarify, the customer showed up with them right after we got back from SEMA.
Oh, okay. I
It
didn't.
was right after, because we were all excited at that moment. When we got to SEMA, Greg and I are walking through new product prior to you and Savage arriving in 23. We're walking through new product, and we just keep seeing these nacho lights, and they look like the cheap Chinese lights initially when you first glance at them, and you're like, oh, look at that, nacho. They're nacho lights, and we're making fun of them the whole time.
Right.
And then you guys show up, and we're like, we got to show you these nacho lights. They're hilarious. And then we end up at ARB, and ta-da!
There's a whole wall of
A
them.
whole wall of them. ARB had just signed for 33% ownership of that.
Yep.
And we're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
So we took some time to learn, and they're phenomenal.
Yeah, and I had saw a couple talking heads on the interwebs who had them on their Jeeps and everything, and I totally thought it was just a scam,
Right.
not a scam, but a fluffed up Instagram product,
Right.
And no, it is a performance driven product, much like our JW speaker headlights
Yep.
and our rigid headlights were of the last decade or so. It is a authentic performance driven product. And the cool thing about the nachos is they actually have 3 different light settings on the Quattro series, which was part of the XK Command conversation. You have a shared ground, but then you have 3 different leads. and you have this like super bright, blind everybody and their brother,
Which is your
light.
60 watt, and that's your spot off-road use.
And then you have kind of a driving light,
Your daytime running light's 10 watt.
and
or
then you have a marker light.
that's your daytime. Your
Right.
fog light is your 30 watt,
Correct.
and it is DOT legal fog.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a pretty cool product. It's one light. It's one unit, and you get basically 3 lights out of it. But again, nice list as the unit is concerned. Naughty list is the fact that for whatever reason that we don't have a market stronghold in our specific area.
Yeah.
So
But as we talk about ARB and their lights, we got to talk about, and I'm going to say it, and I know the customer doesn't like the nickname, the Vampire Hunter. For
Boomer, love Boomer.
Boomer. That Jeep and all of the lights that we put on that Jeep.
Super nice list, man. Lighting. We did some killer lighting in 2024. Honestly, the challenge is we're not. I actually, in one of my videos coming up, I actually talk about the only brand of cheap lights that I like. And you're gonna have to look for that YouTube video coming out here. That's the one you can buy those lights on Amazon. But otherwise, we do everything. Everything is meant to be kind of like performance driven, you know, and we did a lot of really cool lighting work. And I don't want to just talk about that Jeep, though that one's definitely a nice list. You look at Johnny 5 and the brackets that Scott made that allow there was nacho lights on that.
Yeah.
And we had the nacho lights facing out of that bed rack, so you could be camping and you could illuminate your campsite. But then they're on this custom made 180 pivot bracket on a ball bearing of sorts pivot.
Yep.
That was so cool, right? And I mean, we had the one Jeep that you're referencing. I think he calls his Rhino, I think. I don't remember offhand, honestly. And I mean, it's got beautiful ARB Solus lights on it, which I really dig the Solus. They have you can dial up or down their intensity of those lights. They have a number of different covers. They're big, beautiful 7 or 9 inch round lights, really the big Baja inspired sizing and everything. Couple really sick light bars themselves to really illuminate things.
And then we have the cargo rack on that with all the side lighting and backlighting off of it.
Yep. 100%. So there's that one. J5 got a bunch of really sick, the nacho lights. One of the things I'm super proud of on the front of that, when we talk about business wise, Greg figured out how to tap into the system and utilize the nacho light as the both the marker light and the turn signal.
Yeah.
He was able to utilize that nacho. We eliminated the fenders, and so it's a JLJT, so we don't have that standard marker turn assembly. And he figured out, we figured out how to tie into the Jeep's brain and utilize that, basically that 3-pin light. Again, we talk about it being 3 lights. You can use it as a marker light, and then that's the 10 watt. And then when you go to turn, he runs the 30 watt. And when you actually go to hit the fog light switch, because we had modified that, they come on full blast. It was really sick the way that turned out. That Jeep specifically really highlighted some incredible craftsmanship in lighting alone. So huge, nice list there.
And we're running out of time to go through the list. I'm going to let you look through quickly and see if there's any other ones. The last one that I want to hit is this one. We'll hit that last.
Okay.
That way we end on a nice, and we'll talk about it.
So,
but
wow, there's some really interesting stuff here.
I know there's some good ones we didn't have a chance to get to.
Well, Scott, for you, well, here, I'm going to read off a statistic just because I think it's valuable for people to hear and share. Trade values rose 48% in 2024, or in general, since 2019. They're down 4% in 2024. So they rose 48% over the last 4 or 5 years.
So we're still up since 2019 by 44%.
Correct.
That's crazy.
That's nuts that trade-in, that vehicles, the automotive industry as a whole is holding value more than ever before. And so I'm going to give that a nice list. a lot of people are like, oh, these new vehicles are junk, right? Go back to the hysteria that I believe surrounds the 4xEs. It's just factually not true. Our vehicles holding more value than ever before.
And I'm going to throw in that same statistic, we're going to talk about the interest rate going up to 8% in March. And that puts it back on the negative as far as
Naughty
financial
list.
statistics go.
Correct. So that if you are financing, because now you're on the flip side of you're actually looking to purchase a vehicle, it has become more challenging. The disparity is still to the value of the vehicle, but it is costing you more to buy that more expensive vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
It's an interesting economic trend. All right, Scott, this one's for you. Snowmageddon 2024.
Yep. I don't ever want 50 inches of snow in a 24-hour period ever again.
So the naughty part of it is that you lost a building during this storm.
I did.
The nice part of it, and we're going to look at the silver lining, is that we have an opportunity to build you something bigger and better.
Well, actually, probably not bigger, but yes, we can actually
Okay.
learn from
Bigger as in stronger.
yes.
We're not going to let it collapse in the
No.
next snowstorm.
No, the biggest challenge is we're still trying to figure out how to disassemble and get vehicles out that are literally trapped underneath a roof. And there's still at least a foot of snow in the bowl of that roof.
I'm not
Get
surprised.
out of here.
And
It's creating an insulation factor now.
I just walk in, I look up, I'm like, oh, okay. Why won't you melt?
My heart goes out. I mean, obviously, to you and anybody else who really
Well, so many people lost building.
lost.
So many.
Now, I don't understand what made this different because of 2 years ago, Buffalo had some, disastrous snowstorm and people died, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I don't know why we did not have the catastrophic loss of life like Buffalo,
Thank goodness.
that Western New York proper. And so that's why I'm going to say it's a nice list. Our community pulled together,
Yeah.
and while there was loss of some property,
Mhm.
there was very little actual loss of life or travesty for, obviously these
And to
vehicles
those that
and,
did
and
lose
building.
loved ones, we recognize that happened, and we
Sure,
Yes.
absolutely.
You always
and
we
that's-
feel for you
some.
in that.
right, because an elderly person who can't get to the hospital in time or something to that effect. Those
But-
are very challenging.
But it wasn't to the level that we normally see with this caliber of storm.
Yes, and that's and that was the point that I'm trying to make, is that somehow our community weathered this together, right?
Yeah.
From Erie to Madison, Ohio, basically. This blanket of lake effect snow just saturated this area.
And for whatever reason, I talked with Neil off air about this. A lot of these metal buildings were all up for years, and previous snowstorms, the snow just like slid off because they had metal roofs. For whatever reason, this storm specifically, it didn't happen, and because of the mass amount of snow we had, the weight just was too much for the structure.
It's weird.
Yeah, it's really, really strange.
All right, Jeffrey, was there anything else that you wanted to share on this? Was there something?
The last one is I want to end on a nice list, and that is our YouTube subscriber count.
Yeah.
Literally doubled in 2024.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
Our YouTube subscription rate was exponential. It was something that, as a business that is focused on trying to grow and create relevancy to our community as a whole, Savage and I had sat down and we had listed out some hard and some soft goals, and we absolutely nailed it. We always want more, just like our podcast. We're talking about taking those 6 weeks off and how it did or didn't help us. You know what I mean? It's like we always want to provide better, to do better for our community. And so, it's always like, oh, okay, well, we didn't hit our soft goal of blah, but we did hit our hard goal of this,
Yep.
And our hard goals are still pretty cool, I'll be honest with you. And so I'm very proud of doubling our subscription. We're not running away with any type of internet virility or overnight sensationalism. We're just here to create cool, consistent content for people who are into the automotive community.
And thank you to all the listeners and subscribers that are helping us reach those goals.
Absolutely. This is it, folks.
No, it's
It is
not.
Merry Christmas.
No, it's not.
And I don't have a thing.
Yeah, you do.
I-
Hold on. Let's make sure that the listeners can actually hear the music this time.
Oh dear.
Let's see.
Oh dear is right.
Well, after this
Nobody
great
actually wants to hear this.
song, we will all be here. You want to hang on there for our weekend updates because there may be some presents for the producer and the host over there.
I think I'm
so-
just going to take a mouthful of Grandma's candies. Like 3 or 4 of them all at the same time.
I'm wondering, first of all, if anyone can hear that before we actually start it, because I will reset.
So we need you to weigh in, but Jeffrey has the thing currently
Yeah.
blocked, so we don't know if you're responding. If you can hear it, that's cool, but
Who's out there can hear that and wants to hear Neil sing?
nobody actually wants to hear me sing.
I think that's the problem, because nobody's commenting. I need comments to tell people that Neil has to sing.
Nope, they are all on my side.
I'm going to tell you that they couldn't hear it because it wasn't showing me sound on this end. Nothing yet. All right, so we're gonna try re-adding that audio.
Remember when we used to unplug and plug in the Hewlett Packard?
That's what I'm doing.
Right?
That's what I'm doing.
Next year, we're not letting Jeffrey use AI to write this. Because, I mean, I
Yes.
preferred his writing
Yes.
to this.
Yeah. AI is on Scott's naughty list.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I
Six-
apologize to the people that
6
don't agree.
lifts a lifting. What is that?
Well, could be, jacks, 6 jacks lifting. It could be 6 lifts, actual vehicle lifting. You and 6 of your buddies could got together and tried to marathon a lift kit, which I don't
Ooh.
recommend.
Everybody's doing a lift kit.
Let's see if they can hear this music now. We're saying no sound yet, but it looks like we should have sound now. I think we have sound now.
That's a real banger.
Okay, we're gonna start it. Are you ready?
No. Did
a-
anybody confirm it, or
There
you're
was
just
so
shooting
much-
from the hip?
There
I'm
was so
shooting
much
from the hip because it showed that we had sound on it now.
so much cowbell there.
Music is here. There we go. We've got confirmation. Are you ready?
No.
Okay. And 3, 2, 1.
On the first.
Wait for the music.
Well, you didn't play it. You counted down. You literally
Right?
counted it down, and then
DJ.
on the second day of Jeep, Miss My True Love gave to me 2 lockers locking and a Wrangler climbing rocks with glee. On the third day of Jeep, Miss My True Love gave to me 3 trail maps, 2 lockers locking, and a Wrangler climbing rocks with glee. If you're not a Wrangler owner, apparently we don't give a crap about you, says
And
Jeffrey.
you don't have GPS either.
It gave
Yeah,
me
maps.
4 mudding tires, 3 trail maps, 2 lockers locking, and a Wrangler climbing rocks with glee.
Sorry, you can't go wheeling without a spare.
Yep, you're screwed. Give to me 5 angry grills. It's supposed to be golden grills, but AI sucks. 3 trail maps, 2 lockers locking, and a Wrangler climbing rocks with glee. On the 6th day of Jeep, Miss My True Love gave to me 6 lifts of lifting, which still doesn't make any sense to me. Golden grills.
So we can work on all the
Mudding tires, 3 trail maps from Onyx, 2 lockers locking, and a Wrangler climbing rocks with glee. On the 7th day of Jeep, Miss My True Love gave to me 7 lights a shining. This is the lamest writing you've ever brought to the table. AI is no longer allowed to do your job, Jeffrey. 2 lockers locking, and a Wrangler, not a Patriot, climbing rocks with glee.
Or
On
Patriot
the
would be
8th
sad,
day
not
of
happy.
Jeep, Miss My True Love gave to me 8 bumpers bashing, 7 lights a shining, 6 lifts a lifting, 5 golden girls. 4 mudding tires, 3 trail maps, 2 lockers locking, and nobody cares about JT Gladiators off-roading. Days
Who
Jeep,
has
Miss
a
My True
unicorn
Love
light,
gave
too?
to me 9 Jeeps a crawling, 8 bumpers bashing, 7 lights a shining, 6 lifts
Who
a
has
lifting,
one light?
5 golden grills, right? Or mudding tires, 3 trail maps, 2 lockers locking, and a Wrangler climbing rocks with glee.
What about all the CJs climbing rocks?
Right. No, CJs, Gladiators, very popular models out there. There's bashing 7, lights is shining, 6, lifts a lifting, 5, golden grills, 4 mudding tires, not Patagonias, 3 lockers locking, and a Wrangler climbing rocks with glee. On the 11th day of G, Miss My True Love gave to me 11 trails to tackle, 10 winches winching, 9 jeeps a crawling,
folks.
8 bumpers bashing. Do you remember Scott used to have papers? What was his part of this?
Just sit back
Golden
and
grills.
Make fun of you, basically.
4 mudding tires, 3 trail maps, 2 lockers locking, and a Wrangler climbing rocks with
He's got to go all the way through
glee.
now.
On the 12th day of G, Miss My True Love gave to me 12 hills to conquer, 11 trails to tackle, 10 winches winching, 9 jeeps a crawling, 8 bumpers bashing, 7 lights a shining, 6 lift a lifting, 5 golden grills, 4 mudding tires, 3 trail maps, 2 lockers locking, and a Wrangler climbing rocks.
And AI sucks.
Oh man, that was awesome. I'm so glad that you amped yourself up for the
I was here
final.
for you. Yeah,
Yeah.
Savage told me I had to.
Did you notice the music amped up for it?
I
and
did. Well,
everything?
you know what? I was like, okay. Savage gave me the go ahead.
Yeah.
I had the green light, and I was cleared for takeoff. And the music was like the turbines powering up. I was ready to go, man. I was ready to go. All right, that's enough, folks. Happy Merry Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Festimus, Winter Solstice.
Winter solstice.
Did I miss anything else? If not, I really am here to support you. Merry everything. Jeep on.
Jeep on.
Jeep.
All right, but before you give gift gifting, oh jeez, nobody wants traumatized. That's like a trigger now. Everybody's gonna be like twitching when they hear that. What was your cocoa? Let's mugs and cocoa first. That was last time.
Well, I let Scott pick first again. So what did you get,
Thank
Scott?
goodness. Because there was no good options.
They were all good
good
options.
No.
Thank you. And you just suck at making hot chocolate. Who knew that you couldn't make hot cocoa?
I have the Renault version of hot cocoa.
Oh boy.
No.
For those that don't know, that was French. For
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
Renault. If
Must
we're
have
from
been- must have
America,
been French vanilla.
Yeah, exactly.
America, we call it Renault.
And I have a cup that says, follow your dreams. They know the way.
Nice.
That's awesome. Actually, fun fact, the individual who's the interim director of Stellantis is a Renault heir. He is, as I had shared with you guys.
And there it is. There's the problem right there.
And he's been on the board for decades or something. His family has been. So it's important to note. And he's kind of what I saw was they kind of consider this family to be the Kennedy family of Eastern Europe or of sorts. He's kind of a playboy, is what I was reading. But
he's French.
he is the heir to the Renault empire. I thought that was pretty fascinating.
And then I gave you the option of choosing first this time because last time I snatched
Up that toasted marshmallow.
Yep,
which
I got that from you.
banging.
So, of course, today you went for the one that I would have went for.
Oh yeah,
which
100
was
we chose the same ones each time. I'm pretty certain.
yeah.
I forgot what I got already. Jeff, your face. You looked at me like you're surprised.
It's because you made him sing.
Caramel. I
You
went for
with
caramel.
How was it?
It tasted like all the other ones. It tasted like Grinch Swiss cocoa you bought from like Big Lots or Aldi.
So I hear,
It was from Spirit Christmas, so we're on the same page.
so I hear is he's paid way too much for this cocoa.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
They all tasted the
I
same.
used the company card. It didn't matter. what mug do you have?
I can't talk about my mug. it's totally an inappropriate mug that my wife gave me for Valentine's Day.
Yes, I concur. We want to be PG-13.
It's the
All right,
family-friendly show.
There we go. So it was a
It's a very sentimental mug.
perfect.
It's a smut mug.
It's a smut mug.
Oh man, my two mug was also sentimental. This was actually from my grandmother's collection when she passed away. So
We went from the smut mug on Christmas with crappy cocoa to grandma's.
At least my mug was nice.
I went with grandma's mug to fit with the grandma's couch studio.
Too. Oh yeah, that too. Okay, and that was your
So
cocoa.
did your grandma really like dolphins and seahorses?
Why
Yeah,
is it-
she did. So she had a collection from Outer Banks, Myrtle Beach, Florida, all the places that she wanted to think of during the wintertime to
Oh,
make her
that's-
feel nice
that's
and warm.
fair.
That's good.
So this was actually from that collection. I have a few of them. They kinda
my
got
mug
that-
is thinking about warm things as well.
Yeah, it is.
That I want to think about.
When it's cold.
uh,
I'm here for it.
and I went with candy cane hot chocolate.
And was it pepperminty?
It was very minty, too minty, but it
Oh,
good.
was it?
And
Yeah, it was
thankfully for Jeff, I didn't go with the candy cane spoons because I didn't
Yeah.
want them.
That would have been way too much mint.
The little chocolate spoons were really nice.
Yeah.
That was a fun little touch.
Yeah.
I actually nibbled on mine because it disintegrated so fast. I was like, well, I'm gonna
That's
just
why I used
nibble it.
4 spoons because mine kept disintegrating.
No, you used 4 spoons because you had more water than cocoa
Well,
powder.
and Savage stole
Thank
my
God
spoon.
you can build Jeeps and cars because I'm not
Savage
sure.
stole my spoon, so I was left without no spoon. It was bad.
That's funny.
Because you can't microwave the spoon.
It was a plastic spoon. It would-
You shouldn't microwave a
You
plastic
shouldn't,
spoon.
but it would have
I've
survived.
been fine.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so
Wow. Okay, well, that was good.
we have presents.
We have
and
presents.
according, green is for Jeff,
Okay.
as we've talked about all.
All-
Think that's very
all-
fitting.
Green things suck in 2024. That's
Wow.
what he just did.
Wow.
Wow.
And I had, of course, used red for Neil because that's
Yes. Well,
Well,
because
and I think green represents the Grinch who's going to be at the parade on
Yeah.
Friday. So
oh, I love when you guys buy me socks.
So. Do you figured out why I got you those socks?
I'm not sure why I got Mountain Dew socks.
Oh man, they're
What's
definitely
the
gonna
orange can beside you, Jeffrey?
Well, I guess that is a Mountain Dew brand.
have- That was serendipity and really good of you. Holy cow, Scott, that was excellent.
So you
Well
have the
played.
perfect hoodie on for these socks.
because things that are 80s and 90s
100%.
speak to my heart, and this is like an 80s 90s Miami
Islander.
Vice Islander.
YJ.
Yes,
It
this
does.
is an
It does
Islander
fit.
YJ inspiration. Oh my god, that was really good of you.
You know what?
Davey's a good
because they're-
gift giver too. I wish I
Because
was
they're
a good
green,
gift
maybe the
giver like
Grinch
that.
will wear these for the parade.
I hope
Oh,
so.
Man, that's so. I wish I was a good gift giver like that.
Right? I suck at giving
Wow.
gifts. That's why I just don't do it.
Wow. You know, yeah, I have folks in my life. My wife is a little bit of one, but who are their love language is gift giving.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I'm like, I want to support you, but man, I really struggle because I just don't share that same specificity.
Yeah, if you want
I
to be in Neil's heart, just bring him food.
yeah, I was
that
gonna
is
say the way
100%.
to my heart is through my belly.
Yeah.
So,
Um,
anyways,
so any updates from the weekend?
So this weekend, I kind of took a day off on Saturday after work, and then Sunday I hit it hard and organized the cold side of my metal shop, and got a lot of stuff thrown away, cleaned up, stuff moved around, swept the floor, kind of found homes for things. Got my wife's grandfather's key machine and key rack, and all of the many boxes of keys that I still have stuffed into one cabinet. So it kind of makes sense for sort of. I will definitely have to organize it again, but at least everything's kind of in one spot. Funny note, the shelf it was on, it has been so heavy for so long, it was literally failing.
oh dear.
So I have to rebuild the shelf now. which I think is kind of funny. It didn't fail, but it was gonna.
Are you
So-
just going to crimp some sheet metal and reinforce it?
I'm not sure yet.
Yeah.
Haven't spoke to me on that yet, but we did get the CJ, which we liberated from the crashed building up front and backed in, so it's out of the weather again, which
Good.
makes me happy.
Yeah.
Because of cleaning, I'm able to have a Scott width to shuffle between it and the four-wheeler, so I can still plow.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're on my Facebook, you got to see pictures of that.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted to know why I had a key machine, which I thought was fun. So it's because mad scientist.
Right.
Yep.
Totally.
Yep.
This is- no, I am not surprised, but I've also been around for a couple decades with you. So, but
I wasn't surprised when you first showed me that you had a key machine. I was surprised at the sheer number of keys.
so
the
you
best
had to
part
go
is
with it.
he's been selling keys for years. At
I
this
know.
Yes.
point. Unbelievable.
And I've scrapped a lot too.
Yes. Yes.
Grandpa was a little bit of a hoarder.
Yeah, well,
Oh,
old
is.
school key stuff.
He's still with
yeah.
us.
I mean, he's still with us. So,
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of keys.
he'd let the keys go, but that was a long time ago for him. And
Yes.
key technology has also changed, become
Yeah.
more standardized. in
He
my
stopped making keys in like 92-ish,
Sure.
somewhere in there. So
opinion. Sure. Well, I did, I don't know, nothing shy of 112 hours of my daughter's winter ballet review.
I saw pictures of that. It was very nice.
Yeah, it was spectacular. My wife actually danced in it as well. So it was kind of it was a twofer, which because of the Snowmageddon, it was all pushed into one weekend. It's a pretty
Marathon.
It was a marathon. It was literally they did Tuesday, Wednesday, tech week. And then they went into performances Thursday, Friday, 2 on Saturday, 1 on Sunday.
Wow.
And the Saturday, I mean, girls were literally just kind of like napping upright or like in
Yeah,
chairs.
sure.
You know, it was arduous. A lot of us who were involved kind of in the periphery, if you will, or, you know, running food and costumes and forgotten this and, you know, that, and you're shoving in meals where you can, and you're trying to, you know, make healthy choices because you've got performers who are putting on these Christmas performances. It was awesome, beautiful, really well received by the community as a whole. So a very cool time, but very challenging, and therefore I didn't find a whole lot of time to do much of anything else. I did, however, kind of a fun side pursuit that I've done just to kind of, you know, add a related distraction to my current life was, I had a fun little thing through the season here. I've had trouble finding some of my sockets, and some of my tools just needed replaced. So I challenged myself to outfit a portion of my drawer on the cheap. Gave myself a budget and to buy everything I could within this X, Y, and Z period of time. So I was combing through all the different sales and Black Friday stuff and couponing this at here, and, you know, Snap on that, and Harbor Freight this, and Amazon warehouse deal that, and I feel pretty good about it. So I actually, my one little blip of like getting to do something for myself this weekend was getting to organize some socket arrays in my box here. I made sure to kind of get that in, if you will. But the big news for our listening audience, if you're not on our social platforms, is I sold Chuck Norris.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's huge news.
Yep.
So to an incredibly deserving individual who's very much within the family, Scott Lindquist, most notably at this point of the trail team. And Scott joined us back in like 2015, if I recall, and he worked in kind of a part-time capacity, helping me build up some of the media and, you know, some of our marketing reach, helped with the website originally, helped with managing a couple different trail team pursuits, and, you know, has kind of been involved for years while he's off on another career pursuit himself.
Like
But-
all things SFJ, he's constantly reinventing and bettering himself.
Yep.
Which I wanted to give a shout out. I saw his wife graduated her college, so that's awesome.
Yeah, I think it's like a master's program
Yeah.
or a continued pursuit of something, because she's already had a bachelor, so I'm not but I know she was all adorned in cap and gown and everything.
It's
as well.
amazing to be, 2 kids and all life
Yep.
and still being able to do
Working
that.
full time.
I could not do that.
Yeah, good for them.
Yep.
And good for them on their come up because they both have invested heavily in their own personal lives and then their families, put them in a position. Basically, he had called me up and he was like, "Hey," because he has an LJ as well and he loves his LJ. And as you may or may not know, my dad has an LJ, which we love, and he doesn't exactly plan to get rid of anytime soon. And I always knew that Chuck was just kind of a passing through my life situation. I love the Jeep, and it was a dream build of mine. But I've had a lot of Jeeps that are on my bucket list or that I've loved. 95 YJ, 98 ZJ Limited, 5.9. Well,
Islander YJ.
yeah, there's a number of these bucket list Jeeps, and I've had the opportunity to scratch those itches, and I get to move on to something else. So anyways, he calls me up and he says, "Hey, I've got X, Y, and Z, and I want to outfit his LJ."
Yeah.
And
all the things he wanted to do was pretty much already on
Chuck.
So
And he was like, I know that this will just be round 1 and I might have to come back for round 2 and da-da-da-da. And I said, you know what? Let's do a thing. Let's rip the Band-Aid off.
And the coolest thing is that Jeep started with me, then passed you, and now it's going back to, the Scott. I think
Yep.
that's an awesome,
Yep.
as the world turns for that Jeep.
100%. So we should look for that to be back out on the trails and maybe on the show circuit and doing some other cool stuff now under his ownership. So best of luck to him. But a big deal there. You're going to see on our YouTube and on my social media content me putzing with a cheap Rubicon. I saw it put best on the internet this past weekend. JKs are the new XJs. So I'm here to hang out with the poors and and beat on this little JKUR and do some outfitting of it. They're going to see some frugal choices that I make and why and how and some installs and stuff. And we'll go out and put that through the paces, pick that up in the springtime, wheeled it Oil Valley in a very stock configuration, had a nice time, and looks like we'll be doing some more with that in the near future.
So we had a addition to our family this weekend.
Yes, you did.
So a friend had posted that they had
Congratulations on your childbirth.
Yeah. So we had
That's how
Just-
rumors start.
just wait. So we had a friend post that they had a kitten left for adoption and they were trying to find a home. And I made the mistake of showing the picture to Kristen.
Nope, hard pass.
As my wife says, you never go to look at a kitten. You just get a kitten.
Oh, we weren't going to look. We knew we were going to get the kitten.
You don't even look at the pictures. Just swipe
I
away.
accidentally showed her the picture and she's like, is it a girl? And so I appropriately messaged my friend and said, hey, is it boy or girl? It's a girl. And then because of allergies in her household, short-haired cats are actually really bad for allergies, long hair or not. So she asked if it was long hair or short hair. It is a medium to long hair. So again,
A little better for you guys.
so she's like, okay. So we ended up saying, all right, we'll come get that kitten on Saturday. Saturday, as we're driving out to her house in Edinburgh area, just south of Edinburgh, we're almost there, and she messages, oh, by the way, someone just backed out on one of the other kittens, so you'll have 2 girl cats to choose from.
Oh boy.
And Kristen reads it and goes,
Nope.
oh. And I'm like, oh, what? And she's like, and she reads it to me, and I just looked at her and I said, I'm going to tell you exactly how this is going to go. This is going to go where we're going to get there. The kids are going to want both kittens. They're not going to be able to decide between the 2 of them. And then you are going to go, well, they are siblings, and I don't want to separate it.
Yep.
There it is.
Yep, there it is.
And
Whoop, there it
I'm just
is.
going to look at my friend, and I'm going to whisper, I hate you.
Yep.
And this is exactly what happens.
So what's their names?
So their names are Ruby, for Ruby Roundhouse from Jumanji, because
Yep.
it's a really feisty kitten.
Perfect.
And Sally
Just
from
what
Nightmare
you
Before
need.
Christmas, because we agreed to do this on Friday the 13th,
Oh, that's
before
cute.
Christmas.
Yeah.
So
that's fitting.
Ruby and Sally are the 2 kittens' names.
Well, I hope your feisty kitten medals out like ours did, but she's still feisty sometimes. So
Don't care. It's
How many
fun.
animals are you up to in the zoo?
Well, all the rabbits are gone, so we have 3 dogs and 3 cats. now.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Hmm.
That's
And I-
not too bad.
I
I
actually
mean, it's not good.
no, but I
I
actually
wouldn't do
I
it.
felt regained because when we got to the friend's house, she had 2 dogs. I think it was with the kittens that she was trying to adopt out, like 8 cats and like 8 guinea pigs and there was another animal that I couldn't tell you all of them. I was
I
like,
love animals. I do, but man, I'm in a point in life where I just want to go to shows. I want to go to events. I can't appropriately love an animal if I'm out traveling around and stuff.
Yeah,
you know?
it's challenging.
yeah.
At least cats are a little more independent.
I guess.
A little, but
Well,
not
they're
as
kittens. They're not. I
Yeah.
was thinking kittens. I
Yeah,
mean,
kittens aren't.
Yeah.
but a good thing you have a small zoo of humans in your household too. So
Yeah.
it's fitting. They'll be there to take care of them.
Absolutely.
Well, congratulations to that. Anything else for the weekend, or
I mean,
that's
other-
the big consuming factor?
That was a big consuming factor. It was kind of a relaxed day on Sunday.
Nice.
Obviously, watch some football, watch the Steelers get just crushed by the Eagles, but we all knew that was coming.
Sports balls, Scott. Sports balls.
Golf.
I'm telling
All
you,
right.
we got to do an SFJ 4x4 golf outing. I think it would be hilarious.
Have to wear a jersey.
Davey's all in for it. I didn't realize how much he liked golf.
All right.